Okay, I'm back. I'm still on the top of page 2, and I wanted to go over briefly again, trying to plot these points, because I don't think I did a great job. Also, I forgot to mention one thing entirely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into a different app for a second and see if I can do a slightly better job in here, because this gives me the ability to draw lines, and I think that'll be helpful. So what I'm going to do is like an x-axis, do a y-axis, and a z-axis. Okay, so when you're going to plot these things, what you want to do is you have to make tick marks, right? So this is where it's like weird, okay? So when you make a tick mark on, so here's your x-axis, your y-axis, and your z-axis. When you make your tick marks on your x-axis, what you want to do is you want to make them so that they're parallel to your y-axis. And what that'll do is it'll let you maintain parallelism, which is kind of the big deal when you're drawing things, is you want to stay, anything where x equals a constant, you want to stay parallel to that y-axis as you draw it. And then for the y-axis, you want to stay parallel to the x-axis. So my tick mark looks like this. The z-axis, usually I just go parallel to the y-axis. You could do either. You could kind of weirdly do both, I guess. So let's say z, something like that. Okay, and then if we want to plot a point, so you don't need to plot the entire thing to get it to work. So what I want to do is I'm going to go, go a certain distance here. Like ideally you would just get exactly what you want. So that's my x distance. And then my y distance, what color is that? I think this. I'm going to start here, and I want to go parallel to, so you can see I'm like a little bit off, but I want to be parallel to the x-axis. And then for z, what I want to do, so I'm going to show you like a weird kind of advanced way of doing this. So this is so you don't have to show the entire thing. What I'll do here is I'm going to go diagonal in the xy plane. So I've drawn a diagonal in the xy plane. And then what I'll do, I'm going to go up from this point, but I want to go straight vertical. And then what I need to do to make sure that I'm at the right height is I'm going to go across there. And what I've done is I've guaranteed that I'm like on the top of the box because I went straight across that top. So I've drawn basically the diagonal of the top. So if I were to finish this somehow, I would go, up some amount. Preferably I'd go up. You know what? Let me copy and paste. I'm going to copy this, and then I want to paste it and kind of like move it there. And then I want to do that again. So you can't, I don't think you can see that I'm copying and pasting, but I am. Oh, maybe you can. There. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go there, 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 and there. So this is how this is obviously better than what I did last time. But that's a way that you can kind of like work it out. So I just wanted to show you that because I felt like I didn't do a great job last time. So let's go back to the notes and see what else we can do. All right, let's talk about plotting some points. So we want to just describe where they are. And the way we're going to do that is we're really just going to talk relative to the quadrants in the XY plane, because you want to be able to have conversations with people about these. That's why we do this. When people are like, why would I ever want to do this? Well, you need to be able to describe things to people, and this is a good way to start doing that. So I look at this and I see the point 1, 1, which is quadrant 1. So you're in quadrant 1 of the XY plane. And then because Z is 2, you go up, right? So I'm going to say that we are above quadrant 1. And then, so you can fill in a lot of these. So I see like 5, negative 12. So X is positive, Y is negative. Quadrant 4, we're above because Z is positive. Above quadrant 4. 5, 0, 4 is kind of interesting. I'm going to leave that one for now. 1, 3, negative 5. So that's quadrant 1, and you are below. So below quadrant 1. 0, -3, 4. I'm going to leave that one for now. 7, 8, -19 is again below quadrant 1. Like, why am I skipping all the interesting ones? Because we need to talk about them more. 7, -9, -13. So x is positive, y is negative. That's quadrant 4, and then you're below. So below quadrant 4, 0, -12, -1. Let's wait for it. 0, 0, 0. That's the origin, so we're going to say that. Origin. -14, -8. That's quadrant 3 of the xy plane, and then you're below. So below quadrant 3. And then -2, x is negative, y is positive. That's quadrant 2, and you're above. Above quadrant 2. And then 1, 1, 0, that is quadrant 1 of the xy plane. So we're in quadrant 1 of the xy plane. Okay, so that is interesting. 1, 1, 0 puts us in quadrant 1 of the xy plane. The equation of the xy plane is actually z equals 0. So it's like whatever letter you leave out is the equation. I guess, I don't know if that makes sense, but like, so you're saying it's the xy plane, that means z equals 0. If you're in the yz plane, you left out x equals 0. If you're in the xz plane, you left out y, so y equals 0. So with that in mind, if I go back to this problem right here, y is equal to 0, which means that I'm in the xz plane. And how do I know I'm in an xz plane? X is a non-zero number, z is a non-zero number, and y is equal to 0. So this actually, if we were to like have an xz plane, you always put the alphabetically first one on the horizontal. It's like we all just agree to do it. There's x, there's z, and we're at, so x is 5, z is 4. So it's like 5, 4, and you can plot it. So you're actually in quadrant 1 of the xz plane. So that's kind of interesting. And does it hold true for the other one? So here, for the next one, 0, -3, 4, x is 0, which means we're in a yz plane. We're in the yz plane. And then if we were to graph that, so y would go here, z would go here, y is -3, so that's over here. Z is +4, that's up here. So you get this. So we're actually in quadrant 2 of the yz plane. And then for this other one, if you look at it, x is 0, so we're still in the yz plane. And then if we were to graph that, right? So we put y here and z here. Y is -12, that's like here. Z is -1, that's like here. We're in quadrant 3 of the yz plane. So now you got all these other planes you can think about. And the coordinate planes, x equals 0, y equals 0, z equals 0, they're just 3 particularly useful planes. There's an infinite number of planes. Some are vertical, some are horizontal. You can also have planes that are not horizontal or vertical, so they're like skew, I guess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to come back, show you some GeoGebra things so that you can start playing around with this, because it is by far the best way to learn what you're doing here, is to just kind of play around. So I will be back in the next video to do that.